260 men and women went through detox and recovery. Before I get started on my personal testimony, I'd like to tell you about a story in the paper today. The story said that the top 100 CEOs in the United States have greater retirement assets than the bottom 41% of the citizens of the country. 100 men have more retirement assets than 115 million Americans. Last year, at the age of 58, I found myself hospitalized twice for a major depressive disorder. I was in the hospital for 17 days. I was out for 3 weeks. Then I was back in it again for 37 days. When I got out, I had no income. My savings was depleted. So I found myself homeless on Long Island. Somehow, I survived the horror of that island, the transition out of there to the Southland Fitness Center, and finally found a place in Cambridge, a private shelter for 14 men, through a contact in the Boston Soldarity community. I had two objectives while I was homeless. One, to apply for and be granted Social Security disability, which I was able to do. I have 41-year work history, 30 of that in software development, so I had enough in Social Security disability to be able to survive. April 26th, I moved to Fitchburg, Massachusetts, because I didn't want to wait the year or so that it would have taken to get a housing subsidy, and even longer to find a house that would take the subsidy. While I was homeless, I used the services of the Boston Healthcare for the Homeless at Boston Medical Center. I had a wonderful therapist, the best I've ever had, and I've had my share. I had a psychiatrist who recommended me to a program at Mass General Hospital that helped me overcome my depression. The PCP I had recommended me to a lawyer who helped me complete the disability process. All of those services were provided to me free. They were paid for by the taxpayer. Had I stayed in Boston and gotten a housing subsidy, that would also have been provided by the taxpayer. There aren't enough of those subsidies. They only hand out $50 or $60 a year. There's thousands of single men and women and hundreds of families living in hotels. All of that sponsored by taxpayer dollars. It would be cheaper not to have them in those places, but in regular housing. If we cut social spending, what's going to happen to those people? We need to really consider that before we consider giving tax breaks to those 100 CEOs. Thank you for your attention.
We appreciate it. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Hearing none, we thank